Arrrr, welcome be to Wazecat. Arrrr, it's International Talk Like a Pirate Day, so arrrr, shiver me timbers, yo ho ho and a bottle of rum. Okay, I don't think I can actually keep that up for the entire video, but I might throw in a few piratisms as we go along. Arrrr, let's get into it. Okay, so if we, today what I thought we might look at is security updates and things like that. So I've got my Moodle here right in front of us, but the first thing that I want to do is update, because I haven't updated in a while. And so we've got, what's our version? Actually I will check our version first. Let's log in. So it's going to tell me, actually, I know what it's going to say. It's going to say that there's updated Moodle stuff. So you might see this as well sometimes. You go into notifications page and you see this. There's a new Moodle version, a newer Moodle version available. Yeah, 3.1, 11.3, yay. Arrrr, shiver me timbers, ye haven't updated in a long time. So anyway, to get this newer Moodle version, of course, I'm on Git, so never to miss the opportunity to show off Git. Here we are, logged into our Moodle here. I've already changed directory into the /var/www/Moodle directory, which on this server is where Moodle is kept. And I can go git status. And that will show me that, oh, I've got a few installed plugins, which are untracked files, but otherwise we're good. So I'm going to do the full service one, exactly how you should update, including maintenance mode this time. Although in my case there is really no need for maintenance mode because I'm the only user on the site, and I know for a fact I'm not doing anything right now. Now you can maintenance mode in through the website itself. There are two ways to actually enable maintenance mode, which is sort of why I wanted to bring it up. You can go to site administration here, server, maintenance mode, and you can just click this over to enable. And optionally, you can actually create a little message here saying, you know, server down for maintenance. Check back in a few minutes. I mean, we know it's not going, this one's not going to take terribly long, so we can say server down, check back in a few minutes, and that should work. So let's do that now. And we can see that it says changes saved. I'm an admin user, so all I get is this in maintenance mode message, and I can actually log out, and it will say this here. As an admin user, if I want to log back in, I have to actually go /login in the URL. I can hit that in maintenance, and it's still in maintenance, but it'll still get me here. It'll still tell me the message, right, that I wrote before, but it will allow me to log in. Now that's actually fairly different to CLI maintenance mode. CLI maintenance mode will even stop the admin getting in. So let's do that as well. Yeah, let's try both our maintenance modes today. So, what do we do? Not git status. What we want to do is sudo, and we want to switch to the web user. Sudo -u. Okay, enough of that, huh? So we're going to run this as the web user. So www.data, because I'm on a Debian-based server, and we're going to go PHP. We're going to invoke PHP, and we're going to run the admin /CLI/ maintenance script, maintenance-.php, and we have to tell maintenance mode, maintenance.php, what we want to do. So we'll go -- enable, because we want to enable maintenance mode. Now, maintenance mode is enabled, but not CLI maintenance mode, and they're different, and I'll show you why. So here it's asking me for my password. So I give my password, and then now it says my current site is currently in CLI maintenance mode. No web access is allowed, and that literally means no web access, because now, if we have a look here, we were in maintenance mode, but we were able to log in. Now if I try to go to the dashboard, oh! Oof. So my message is still appearing here, but it says the site is currently undergoing maintenance and is currently not available. Server down for maintenance, check back in a few minutes. So this is even blocking the admin user, And not only the admin user, but this will also block cron.php. So CLA maintenance mode is really what you want to do for upgrades and things like that. If you want to do UI sort of maintenance or something like that, change your user tours and stuff like that, you might want to actually do that using the web interfaces maintenance mode. But for upgrades, we want to do this sort of thing. Now, we've done git status already. It says, kind of falsely here, but it says your branch is up to date with origin. We know it's not. So what gives Git? What's the deal here? Well, the deal is that Git has not yet fetched all the updates that are available. So it hasn't actually updated anything yet, and it doesn't even know. Git doesn't just automatically go and fetch the latest Moodle code for you. You actually, when you type in git pull, it fetches and implements all of that. But there is another command which you can use to check how far behind you are and to pull in the latest one. So pulling in the latest, but don't apply them, is git fetch. It just fetches the latest code without actually applying it. So I'm going to run that one now. You don't have to run git fetch. Git pull will bring them in, but if you want to bring them in and then apply them separately, say you want to just do the fetch now, get all of the code ready to go, and then you don't want to have them actually applied. I mean, right now they're still not applied. We've fetched them, but we haven't actually applied them. So the changes have not actually been applied to the Moodle directory. So even if we ran the upgrade script, it'll just say, nothing to do here. So now if I run git status, though, you'll see that the story will be different, and it will tell me how badly I have fallen behind. Oh my goodness, 391 commits, which actually isn't a heck of a lot, but it's more than you might, these 391 commits, because it's going to be 3.11 to 3.11.3 or something like that, it's going to be largely bug fixes and stuff that you want to actually have, because a lot of these fixes are going to be things that stop your users complaining at you. Something's broken or something. So good idea is to apply these ones. So now let's go ahead and apply them. And applying them is quite simple as doing a git pull. You git pull, it pulls them all in. Boom, they're all pulled in now. And now I can go back to my sudo-use /admin/CLI, and this time I'm going to run upgrade.php, which will finish the upgrade for us. So that's all there is to it. Hit the yes. Okay, you can see I'm going 3.11 plus to 3.11.3 plus, so I'm upgrading. This is a small point release, minor point release. Okay, if it was 3.11 to 4.0, that would be something I'd be worried about, but this one is just a minor one, right? So these minor release updates as well. I personally, it's a bit of a judgment call, but I personally am very happy to do these in the middle of semester, because generally it won't break anything, it won't change anything as far as how the people are using the site, how the users are using the site. It just fixes all those bugs that might have been in the last release. So this just makes life happier for everybody. Moving from 3.11 to 4.0, I know 4.0 is coming in another couple of months, but I'm not going to make that move until the end of semester, because doing that sort of a move mid-semester is going to set my users off, and they'll be really mad at me. So we're not going to do that. Anyway, setting new defaults. It is now running and completed successfully. Had no reason to doubt it. So now we can go back to our maintenance mode, enable, and we'll change that to disable. And that will disable command line maintenance mode, because we're still completely locked out, right? Still, even if I try to refresh this on my, it's still not going to let me in. If we go back here and disable it, the site is now running normally again. Let's just double check that. We'll put this right down the bottom here so it's out of the way. And there we have it. And you might notice as well that the disable maintenance mode in CLI mode has not only disabled the maintenance mode as far as locking the admins out, but it's also disabled the maintenance mode, the web-based maintenance mode. So all users have access now. So if you don't want that to happen, watch out for that, because it happens. Okay, so part 2 of today's video, because I wanted to actually do another one, is this one. Arrrr! What if the pirates be breaking into your site and rape and pillage and pillaging? Pillaging us. Okay. Anyway, security. Security is a good thing to actually look out for in your server, and Moodle has a report called the Security Checks report here. And this actually will look at your Moodle server and see if there are things that could be improved security-wise. Now, this is sort of a default install of Moodle right now, so you can see there are a lot of warnings and criticals and oh my god, right? So let's go through these and fix these one by one. Okay, so I'm going to sort of jump around a little bit because there are a few that I want to actually tackle first before we actually go to the other ones. So first, let's look at the ones that we have to do using the command line, because we've already got the terminal window is ready to go. So let's go into Writable config.php. Let's fix this one. Well, no, let's fix the executable paths first, sorry. Because the executable paths, if you look at them, they are... So this is what you want to add to config.php, which is why we don't want to change it from being writable just yet. But the executable paths can be set in the admin GUI. So that means you can go to site administration. If we go, I think it's system paths here. So you can set these here. So path to du, that would be /usr/bin/du would be that one, right? And path to dot or gs. Gs is already configured there. Oh, but it's not actually installed. So you can actually add all of these here, and du is in there for sure because that's really a default one. Du just means disk usage. And path to PHP CLI, if you want that configured, then you can go /usr/bin/php is usually what it is. But you can configure these through the CLI, which is considered a bit of a security. You'd be better having this configured in config.php and not allowed there. But this page is still worth looking at, because if you see that you've got these crosses here, then you can actually do something to change that. So this one's GS. It's asking for ghost script there. So I can actually fix that cross just by going sudo apt install ghost script. So we can do this a little bit here. So I can go, yes, I do want to change that up. So, oh, and the Poplar data was coming in as well. Okay, so that's going to finish. And now if I refresh this, boop, and now my GS is working there fine. I'm going to change this. Let's have a look at this one. /usr/pdf to ppm. This is Poplar. That's another one that wouldn't be in there by default. And it's not. So we want to install Poplar utils. This is actually a good one to have. Because it makes... if you use the... what's it called? The assignment module, and have students submit assignments and you want to annotate by PDF or something, Poplar utils and GhostScript and things are used to make that sort of thing happen. So it's a fairly useful thing to have. Poplar apparently does it a little bit better than GhostScript. I don't know, I haven't really noticed much of a big issue, but anyway, what we can now do is refresh that, and that will also be okay. The path to ppm is fine there. And Python 2 or 3, you don't know which one you've got, so let's just take a look. Which is a command you can use to actually find what it is. Let's see, Python, no, let's try for Python 3. Python 3 exists, it's user bin Python 3, so that's the one. Let's just use that one. it's newer than Python 2, so let's just do it. So we've got all these paths that we can configure here, but we can configure these in here as well. Dot's probably in there too. Okay, I will configure them here, and then we'll do them the proper way as well. And let's, come on, you're gonna, hey, yeah, okay, because I've done this once or twice before. On different sites actually, I haven't actually done it on this site yet. Oh, and A spell and dot is for GraphViz. It's part of the graph visualization thing. So let's get them as well. Okay, so GraphViz and A spell, wasn't it? We want both of those as well. Okay, so let's do those, install those, and then they'll be available as system paths. So the security problem was actually that we can set these paths inside the graphic user interface. It's not much of a security problem, but hey, we can fix it anyway, so why not? And that'll make it more difficult to cause problems. And one of the reasons you might want to do this is if you have multiple sysadmins and you have some of them are going crazy, going in and running scheduled tasks through the user interface, and you want to put a stop to that. Well, you prevent them from setting PHP here. That stops the ability to run scheduled tasks. Okay, I'll show you that. Server, scheduled tasks. We have the ability to run now on our scheduled tasks. So any task that's actually enabled, we have a run now capability. Synchronized manual enrollments task, run now. Now, if you don't have path to PHP configured, you won't get this run now option here, and you won't be able to actually run them at the time. You have to actually just set the cron job and let them run from cron.php. So in order to stop someone from doing that, you would unset that previous thing about user bin PHP. You delete that. If we delete that and save changes, then an admin cannot go nuts with the scheduled task thing. They can't just run scheduled tasks willy-nilly as they like. So you can see the run now is not appearing anymore. But it's an admin, so the admin could just go and set the user bin PHP, the path to the binary for PHP again, and boom, they've done it again. You might also have people setting the paths incorrectly, and that can cause all sorts of problems. So instead of doing that, let's block it all off. So what we want to do is we want to edit our config.php, and we want to add the I'll just add it, you know, around about here or something like that. I've got my stuff here, and I mean directory permissions as well. This is set to 777, which is probably not the most secure. You might want to change that yourself if you're that way inclined. You can go as long as this has got the read and execute thing, should be fine. But well, read, write, execute. Okay, fine. But actually the other does not really need it. So 770 or something is something you might want to do, or 750 or something like that. Just make it a bit more tight if you want to. I'm not going to bother with that one in today's video, but we are going to add here what Moodle was telling us to add. So if we go to the security checks page again, and let's see, let's do what we were told. Executable paths, here we go. Executable paths, this should be in our config.php. Let's copy that. And let's go and whack them in there. Okay, here we go. Prevent execute path, done. Okay, go out of that and see what happens. All right, so now if we refresh this screen, right, this is not a server thing, so we can just refresh this, see what happens. It's okay now, great. So let's continue, let's go back. and it says we're all good. But wait a minute, we're not exactly all good, I don't think, because you go to executable paths. Well, it says you're all good. What's the problem? There's nothing ungood about that. That is so good. Well, let's have a look. If we go to site administration, server, system paths, yeah, they're all good except path to PHP CLI is disabled. So this one is okay. Anything that was set before we did that, we're okay with. But the path to PHP is not there, and I want it back, but now I can't set it. What do? Well, you can actually set all of those paths in the config.php. And so that's what we're going to do next. I actually, rather than typing them, I actually have them on my clipboard now. So I'm going to cheat and just paste them in. But here we go. Boom. So now we've got a user bin Ghost script. We've got all of them. The Ghost script one, the PHP, there's DU, there's a spell, there's dot for GraphViz, that's Poplar one, and that is Python 3. So all of those are now defined. If I overwrite my config.php, and now let's have a look again at our site here, and you might see if we refresh that, now PHP's definition has been magically implanted because it's defined in config.php and cannot be changed here. So people can't say, oh, let's run not PHP but PHP 5, let's change the version or something. It's not going to mess things up for me there. So the paths are all set in config.php. That's where you want them to be set for this security thing. Okay, so we just changed our config.php and executable tasks. So, okay, that one was pretty intense. Let's go back to our security page here now, and we can see that the executable paths things we've got, okay, one down, a few more to go. So let's go next one, writable config.php. Okay, we don't really want config.php to be writable, not by web scripts anyway. So all we want to do now is change the mode of PHP, config.php. And what we want to do is change it so that at the moment, config.php, ls-config.php, you can see here, the owner is me, Adam. The user is www.data. And the permissions are that I have write permission and www.data has write permission. So all we really have to do is take the write permission off of www.data, and that one will be clear because the web server can currently write to config.php, and that's a bit of a no-no. So what we can do this a couple of different ways. We can say, change mode, and group minus write permissions and config.php, or we could specify the octet and just say, say 440 or something like that as the write permissions, the read and write permissions. I'm going to just get the config.php one coming up. So now you can see that actually the www.data, there is the group, and the group has read permissions. It can see the file, it can read the file, but it cannot write it. If we want to tighten this up even more, we could actually get rid of this read permission for anyone, so the other, which is a lot better. So actually, we might actually just tighten this right up, and we'll say change mod, so other people minus R. Get rid of the Arrrr. No more Arrrr for them. And now we can see that we've got Adam, me as the admin user inside of here. I have read and write permissions. The web server can only read, and anyone else just can't read the file at all. They can just see that there's a file, it's called config.php, but yeah, you can't see anything else. So that's probably the ideal permission that we're going to want to have here. So let's go back to our report and see if that's actually fixed things. By the way, if you get this wrong, and you deny, I'll show you what happens if you deny the web server permission to see it. So anyway, let's go back here, and yep. And our writable config.php is not modifiable by PHP scripts anymore, which is just the way we want it. Okay, just for fun, let's do the change mode and get the group -r. So www.config is not allowed to see it. Can't see config.php. What happens in that case? Well, in that case, here we go. Back here, let's refresh the browser, and oh, that's currently working. Why is that working? Okay, that's a little surprising. Config.php, typically, if it can't be read, it might be cached or something. But anyway, if it can't be read, you'll usually get the white screen of nothing. It just won't load, and in your error logs you'll see an error that said that config.php was not around, so we're not going to do that. I'm just going to change that back anyway, even though it doesn't seem to be causing me an issue at the moment, and so I kind of expected it would. Okay, I don't know. That's something for me to check out later. Anyway, that's basically what you're going to want to have, is that the PHP user, which is www.data, can actually view config.php. So that's currently set, that Adam can see it and can read and write. Web server can read only, and anyone else just can't see it at all. So that's the way we want it. Okay, so now we've got that one done, let's go back to our security report and knock down some other problems, shall we? So let's refresh this screen. Writable config.php, executable paths are done. Next one, let's take out this one here, which also requires us to log into the server. Actually, this one's going to require sudo access because we have to adjust the Apache information here. This one here, by the way, just is, in case you can see this one here is perhaps the worst one that I've seen people make a mistake on, insecure data root. If you get a warning on that one, fix this one first, because insecure data root means that you've put your Moodle data directory, Moodle data directory, somewhere where people can just access it from the web and just download all the Moodle data directory. And that's really insecure. So that's the one that you really want to fix quickly if you can. There are other ones like displaying of PHP errors. That's for debugging and things like that. But anyway, by default, if you've installed Moodle correctly, then these will not be an issue. This one will be if you install just by default using the default configuration. So let's fix that up. So there are Moodle docs that are linked to, and I've actually already got them open in a couple of tabs up here. So here's the Apache Moodle doc here for 3.11, and what we're looking for is hiding internal paths in particular. So in this screen, actually, there is a link here to hiding internal paths, and that's what it's talking about, the internal paths. That means that there are a lot of folders in there, like environment and install XML files and README files and bhat test files and stuff like that, that, yeah, people online do not need to see that. And in addition, if there's a 403 permission denied error, you shouldn't be going in there, or a 404 error, you know, this file's not found. Well, we don't want to actually tell them, oh, you just found a directory that you're not allowed to access. We don't want to tell them anything about that. We don't want to tell anyone who's attacking us anything. We don't want to give them any information whatsoever. So that's what the configuration here is trying to do. And so there are two sections here, actually. Even though hiding internal paths is one of the ones that's coming up, it's also good to add the error document 404 stuff. And this also has a second line here that's the 403, which allows the errors, the H403 presents as a 404 error. So this is another one, good one to have. Now, if you're on Nginx, which I typically am, I'm just not on Nginx today. Yeah, I work on both. Yeah, they've got their ups and downs, but you can find this sort of thing here. on the same sort of page. I mean, I think if you're on the Apache page, it links to the Nginx page. If you're on the Nginx page, it links to the Apache page. So check out the documentation. It's all good. But anyway, here we've got, for example, our error pages section and our hiding internal files section as well. So they're both here as well. They're fairly simple. We're going to do this now. So let's go in and do them. So we're doing the Apache one here. So the problem with the 404 thing, let's do a 404. Let's get a 404 up. So I'm going to open up another tab. And instead of I'll go my monkey. Monkey apparently is a really common password that people use when they're trying to be random. It's not very random. Everybody thinks of monkeys. You say random to somebody, they think monkey. I don't know why. Anyway, this should present me with a 404. And there's my current 404. And it's telling too much information. What's the information it's telling? Well, it's telling people that I'm using Apache 2.4, that this server is Debian based. It's, might tell, what my other FQDN is or something like that if I have another server on this one. And it's just generally giving information that, hey, indexes is also perhaps enabled, or if they find something else. It's giving way too much information. So let's fix that. So we're going to fix it first by adding this to our Apache configuration. So our Apache configuration on this server will be in, so I'm just going to go, sudo nano, and I'm going to go /etc/apache2 /sites enabled. It'll be symlinked in sites enabled. And I think it's Moodle, and it'll be what I'm using Let's Encrypt, so I'm looking for the Let's Encrypted version, and so that's moodle-le.ssl. The name of this file will depend on what you named it when you set up yours, so that part's different. But anyway, it's asking me for a sudo password. So here we are, and it's a very short virtual host file. Yay, all good. So I'm just going to put these configurations in here. I have one copied to the P. So there's our error 404 and error 403. While I'm here, I'm just going to go back to the and grab the second set as well, and we're going to put this in as well. So this is the rewrite rules that prevent people from getting to the stuff that they shouldn't be able to. So there's our 404 page, but wait a minute, I haven't added it yet, so just a sec. Gonna just paste that in there. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is, as is on Moodle docs, the rewrite rules here are all commented out. They're not going to do very much if they're commented out. So we need to get rid of these hashtags, because we don't want them to be commented. And here's the one that says no indexes and things like that. So we shouldn't be able to have indexes as well, which is good. We just leave those all like that. And that should pretty much take care of us. So let's exit there. And let's exit the file. Now, before we restart Apache, what a good idea is always to test your config first before you reload Apache. So we'll do that. Sudo apache2 ctl config test is what we want to run. That's the command. If you're running Nginx, then it will be sudo nginx-t. Anyway, there you go. Syntax is okay. The FQDN is not really, that's okay. I'm not going to set it directly. It's not a big issue. So I'm going to leave that alone. So now that's done, but no changes have been made yet because I have not yet restarted Apache 2. So sudo systemctl restart Apache 2. .service. Well, just restart Apache 2. And now that's restarted. So now my 404 should not give all of this information away. It should be Moodleified one. So yeah, an unusual error code trying to view a page that does not exist. Oh, and it's got a nice little send a message thing. Send a message if you have time. Send. Let us know what happened, what you're trying to do. So that's pretty nice too, isn't it? You can actually get feedback from your users. They can report it quickly and easily. That's nice. Okay, so we've got that one. So let's go back and have a look. Did that actually work? And do we have all of the security checks? Let's have a look. See what happened. Oh dear. Oh dear. Check all public private paths. We're still getting directory index should not be enabled. Well, hang on a minute. We uncommented options minus indexes. So what's the deal? What's the deal? Index is not enabled. So what's going on? Okay, so most of these checks are now okay, except for this one, lib classes. And it says directory index should not be enabled. Well, is it really? There it is. So this is the index, right? This is default. If you go to a directory in Apache, and it shows a list of all the files, and that's bad, and the sizes and things, and people could theoretically, download these files and stuff like that. So index not good. Okay. Let's go. Okay, so let's double check. Okay, so here we've clearly got options minus indexes here, so it must be enabled elsewhere. And so the only other place I can think of where it would be enabled is in the Apache 2 configuration file, which will be sudo etc apache 2 apache2.conf. Now let's go down. So here's our default directory listings and things like that. And yeah, var/www, that is where our Moodle was, right? It's var/www/Moodle, and looky what we have here. Arrrr, we found the treasure. Well, not really treasure, but anyway, we want to get rid of this. Right? Follow symlinks, sure. Okay, that should do it. Let's do another config test. Everything good. Right. Okay, now let's restart that. Now let's give it a shot. Okay. Now let's try this. Refresh this. 404. It's giving me an error, and not only is it giving me an error, it's giving me a 404 error. So yay. That's good. That's what we want it to do. Okay, now let's check it out. Right, let's go back to our security checks. And public private paths are good. We're golden there. So they're going down pretty quickly now. All right, and I think out of that, that's all we need as far as the terminal is concerned. So that's all the problems that we needed to solve using the terminal are fine. As you've just noticed, sometimes if you set a configuration somewhere that is overwritten somewhere else, you might need to go hunting for that configuration set. So, okay. Next one, enabled SWF flash media filter. Oh, it's enabled. Okay. Let's go into manage media players. Yeah, this one here. Why is that even there by default? It's included. It shouldn't be. I don't know. I might actually add though the HTML video and the HTML5 audio just as fallbacks. And the Vimeo one. Yeah, I would use Vimeo someday. I think probably. So yeah, have them. These will be enacted in order. So video.js is the native Moodle way of playing things, and that's up the top is good. Vimeo, if it's Vimeo, then go to Vimeo YouTube. You might want YouTube and Vimeo filters to take precedence over video.js if you, I don't know, there's a use case for that, I'm sure. But anyway, Flash, we don't want to use, ever. We just want to say, yeah, if it's Flash, not going to embed it, not going to do anything special with it. Definitely don't want to touch Flash. Flash is dead. So we just killed that one. Good. Okay, so enabled Flash SWF media is now gone skis. All right, we're going with them a bit. Okay, information administrators found one server administrator. Okay, good, thanks. This is just, I guess, info in that if you have 50 server administrators and there should only be one, yeah, you got a problem. XSS cross-site scripting trusted users. Yeah, this is saying warning. I'm not going to worry about that one terribly much though, because 2 users have to be trusted. Will be there are only 2 users on this Moodle. The second one is Leroy Jenkins. Anyway, the thing about these being XSS means, you know, they have permissions that enable them to post stuff that theoretically they could make a cross-site scripting attack on your server, so you need to trust them. And I'm okay trusting them because Leroy is just my alter ego, and so me, myself, and I'm perfectly happy with that. You could manage the roles and really tighten them up a bit if you like. Backup of user data, found 1 role, and no users with the ability to back up data. Well, technically admins can, so I can. But anyway, you can actually restrict the ability to back up user data heavily. You might not want user data to be backupable by teachers, so you might want to actually get rid of the ability to back up from teachers. I think actually this one role that does allow it is the manager role. The problem with backing up of user data is that you can get the names, email addresses, etc., of users, as well as whatever they've posted to forums and things like that, which, if taken off-site, might consider a very bad privacy breach. So probably good not to have the backup of user data in the hands of everybody. But anyway, your mileage may vary depending on what your situation is. Okay, and the last one here that we've got a critical warning on. Critical! Okay, this is... I'm going to call this one a drama queen entry here. Because default user role for authenticated user is incorrectly defined. Yeah, okay. Right. Okay, so this is Moodle being whiny, because it's not as critical as it looks. Right, so what we can do is we can have a look at it. It says, course view capability must not be enabled. The course view capability actually doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that if you go to user profiles, user permissions, and if you look at this permission list here, you'll see that a whole bunch of them have these risks associated. So add new latest badges block to dashboard. It's set to prevent currently. The default is allow, and I've changed a lot of them because it says users could gain access to private information of other users potentially. There's a risk inherent with anything that you let your students do. So here you might have, could change site configuration. Over here, users could destroy large amounts of content. There are different sorts of warnings here. Users could send spam. Users could, and it doesn't mean users will, but your authenticated user is a user that essentially everybody just has this by default site-wide. And so you want this to be not granting anything, but you also don't want to, if a student is going to be enrolled in a course, you want them to get their permissions to be a student from the student role, not from the, not from just having a login to the site. So what the trick is to get that particular item in the security checks thing, to get that, go back to it. In order to make this one happy, default role for all users, you go to your user policies, you edit the authenticated user role, and then you set every single one of the roles that has one of these risk check things. Every one of those should be set to prevent. Okay, bonus little factoid here. If you set them to prohibit, that will prohibit them from doing that, even if, say, they later on get the student role and the student role says, yeah, he can do that. So prohibit prohibits no matter what. But prevent is what you'll typically want on your authenticated users, so they can be, create a new blog entries. You might want to prevent that for just any everyday user, prevent that. But maybe some teacher might want their students to make blog entries. So you want to allow the teacher to grant that permission later to their students. So prevent is the setting you're going to want. So you can see that a lot of these I've already gone through and clicked on prevent and everything like that. Some of them, like this one here, change site configuration, they're not going to have that anyway. But anyway, we can click on prevent for pretty much everything in here. Now, there are a few that are a little bit odd. And I'm just going to do a search here for request. Okay, what did I do? Okay, come on, edit. Request, there we go. So data privacy, request data deletion on behalf of another user. Sure, you don't want students to do that. But request review of a learning plan, well, that's what I didn't. But down here, request data deletion for minors. Right, so if there are data for children, make data requests for minors. Request data deletion for yourself. So this is an odd one, right? Because you would think that if data deletion, according to GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, every user should be able to request data deletion for themselves. So to set that to prevent seems like that should cause a problem. But if we leave that at allow, watch what happens. I leave that at allow and come back here to our drama queen warning, and still critical. If I change that to I've got to click on edit again. If I change that to prevent here and save changes. Now if we come back to our report, it's all happy. Seriously, GDPR non-compliant settings are the ones that are listed as okay. Yeah, Moodle HQ, if you're paying attention, this is something you might want to fix, because that does not seem at all correct to me. Anyway, or I don't know, they might have their reasons, but I just think, to me, that seems incredibly odd that you have to prevent users from exercising their GDPR insured rights. The GDPR enabled rights must be disabled for that warning to go away. That's weird. So, and this one, incorrectly defined. Well, it depends on what you think correct is. I think abiding by GDPR is correct. So things like that, I would say, let them do it. Okay, so anyway, in edit though, if I clear the font thing out, you'll notice as well though that although I've only gone through one or two, it's because I came through here and did most of them earlier. You have to click prevent from pretty much all of these ones that have any risk associated on the right hand side. Prevent, 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 and there's a lot of them. So you want to go through them all like that, then it takes a while. Why is it not set correctly out of the box? I don't know. Should be. Okay, anyhow, that's pretty much it. So now if we come back, let's check the score. Security checks. There they run. We've got okay. XSS, yeah, we've got students. They're going to be a risk, but we know of the risk and we're okay with it. Cool. Backup of user data. Know of the risk. It's not an issue. We have this managed. So just manage those two. And the rest of them you can actually get all okay on. Again, last thing to mention about the default role for all users was some of the things you have to actually disable, some of the permissions you have to disable should not be disabled because they are important for GDPR compliance. So I get that you might, I just think that the check for this one is not okay. It's not correct. So anyway, that's our security check. So arrrr, there we be. How'd we do? Under an hour. Yeah. Okay, I did want to keep this under an hour, so 15 minutes is pretty good. Well, at that, I'll talk to you again real soon. Sorry I haven't been online making videos recently. Been a little bit busy, but I'll try to make another one that doesn't keep you waiting another month. So, okay. Thank you very much. Stay secure and enjoy whatever it is you're doing on the rest of this Sunday. Cheers. Bye.